Hi, Dr. Pedron. I overall really enjoyed this project, both parts of it. The second one I did find a little more challenging, but I really enjoyed it. So, the main thing that I found challenging is going to be the first part of the project, which for me, the part that was most challenging was finding a vendor and creating a menu for the reception. I think what was hard about that is I personally don't really like wedding food, so it was hard going through traditional vendors and kind of filtering out, oh, would I really have that if this was a real wedding, or would I not have that? Another thing was taking account cost because I learned how costly wedding food is, and vendors and appetizers was a whole other thing. It was kind of about, does this sound good? Would this go good with this? Also about, okay, how many do you need to feed 125 people? How many servings do you get of each thing? And then also, how many appetizers do you get? Trying to estimate how much each person's going to serve themselves. So that's a whole thing in itself. I think that was just challenging, was kind of like the food aspect of it. I think the easiest thing about the food aspect about it was the cake. I was lucky enough to find a website that was actually in my local town, a wedding cake company in my local town that actually has their prices listed very clearly for each amount of tiers that you get for the cake. So that was a very easy part to complete. What I really liked about the project was finding inspiration pictures for each part of the project, each deliverable, because I felt like the inspiration pictures really brought the whole thing that I'm creating to life. Like, just, in all the assignments, it's describing the flowers, describing the theme, describing the venue, the layout, the food. So bringing in those inspiration pictures kind of puts a visual of what I'm creating. So it's nice to kind of see that and just get an idea of what it would look like hypothetically. I also really like just learning all these little tedious things and how these things could be challenging. I think when we initially started in the semester, I really didn't think wedding planning would be so tedious. I mean, I knew it would be, but I didn't think about all those little factors, like how many appetizers, how many chairs are you going to put in each row, and then the spacing in the ceremony space for the aisle. That was another thing when I was creating my layout, my design, my layout. But that was something that I did dislike, was the platforms used to design the venue space. I think Prism was great for the actual, like, I would say drawing layout where you place like the chairs, the tables, and whatnot. But something that I think would be really cool is if there was a platform to kind of like the what the pictures did, is bringing the whole thing to life. A platform where you can actually see what it would look like putting down tables with colored tablecloths. And for example, if you had red roses as your centerpieces, you could put red roses. If you had like barrels, for example, with flowers on top, you could put that down. So it would be really cool to see something, a platform like that, that might just really bring the whole thing together and you could really see. I think that would be cool to like have Prism be used, but maybe for the future, like as an extra credit option for students for that design part, is like to be able to use a platform of their own, um, along with Prism, to bring in that color and bring in that realism of like the actual setup of the wedding as if you're walking into the room. So I think that would be cool, because I really liked looking at like all the decorations and stuff on Pinterest, so it'd be cool to be able to put that on a design. But overall, I really enjoyed this project. Thank you for a great semester.